welcome to week 7. We finished off week 6 with me saying I was waiting for a call about a job that I really wanted, and I got it, so I'm so excited. So I start next week on Wednesday. Monday's actually a holiday here in Ontario. It's Family Day. I know it's not all provinces and territories, but it is here in Ontario at least. I am so excited. It's going to be at a freight forwarding company. So like a logistics company where I will be answering phones and helping with dispatch. From my understanding, a lot of the workers there are do this job already, but they're adding another person, me, to the team. So I'm excited. The interview went really well last Tuesday, or no, not last Tuesday, 2 days ago on Tuesday. And then they let me know yesterday, Wednesday, around I'd say like 3:30 p.m. I filmed that little clip from last week saying I was waiting for the call, I think at like 3 p.m. So I was like 20 minutes ahead, but I was so excited when they called. I had to like keep it together on the phone because, you know, I've been waiting for 13 months for a job. And yeah, I had some like offers last year, but nothing that like suited me environmentally because of my lungs and my asthma. So, you know, they called and I'm like, oh, I'd be happy to join. So that was very, very exciting. First person I had sent a text to, of course, was my husband. And then my aunt has been asking because we've been talking frequently quite a bit. Then I also text my dad because he knew that I had the interview coming up the day after I seen him on Monday. So that was exciting. I'm so excited to get started, and I'm just so excited because 1, I can have income again. 2, it is a bit more money, which is nice than like my previous workplace. The hours are longer. The hours every day are going to be 8 until 5, so that's a 9-hour day, but lunch is paid, so like you don't like get deducted when you take your 45 minutes for lunch. Everybody gets 45 minutes for lunch. It's staggered throughout the day so they can have the phones covered, etc. And in that time, I can get home, so that is very exciting. It's even closer than my previous workplace. It used to take me 12 minutes to get into the middle of town, like where Spin Rate is. And now it's on the outskirts of town. It's only going to take me about 8 minutes to get into work. And I'm so excited. I'm so glad I stuck out for something local because I did have 2 offers on the table this week. One of them was the one that I was very excited about and that I graciously accepted, and I'm so excited to get started. And then the other one was for an accountant. I would just be doing like his, you know, end work of filing and, you know, setting up meetings, etc., etc. And I don't know, I just didn't like the location. It was in his farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, and winter is terrifying, and it was further away. It was about 45 minutes like away from our place. And if I could have done that remotely, that would have been perfect. This new job, I'm required to be in office all 5 days of the week. That's okay. I mean, that's fine. That's what I did at Spin Rate anyway. I do have to be on call 1 night per week, which is interesting, but that's okay. I guess everybody shares 1 laptop and 1 cell phone where the calls get forwarded for the night that you are on call. I look forward to being part of this new team, and I'm excited to have coworkers again. I'm excited to have a purpose again. And that's something I miss so much, is just being a part of a team. Like, it was a lonely 2025. So I'm just so excited. That being said, the weekly vlogs, I think we're gonna have to, obviously they're gonna be a lot shorter because I'm not, you know, knitting and crocheting full time, where you guys can, you know, watch all these time lapses and hear what I worked on all day. So of course they're gonna be a lot shorter and they're gonna be less content. It'll be a little bit funny, I think, for a little while, like at least the next 2 months, just so I can get into the groove of things, because 8 till 5 is a long day. And of course, you're gonna have to get up early, take Larry maybe for a WALK some mornings, depending on the weather. And same thing after work. You know, that's just the way it's gonna have to be, but that's okay. I'm excited. My new job, I just, finally, employment. And it couldn't have come at a better time because my government assistance that I had paid into while working, it ended in January. So I was fresh out of money, fresh out of any income coming in, and you know, I'm thankful that Steve has a good job and he's able to support both of us. But of course, I don't want to keep asking, can I have $20 for fuel? Can I have $20 for groceries? Because that's just annoying. Another exciting aspect of the week coming, Valentine's Day this week is on Saturday. So Saturday the 14th right there. And the weather looks really good. So it looks to be about 0 degrees, feels like -5, which isn't bad at all, like for this area. So I'm probably gonna go to the farmer's market. I've been keeping an eye on the weather all week and it hasn't really changed. So fingers crossed it stays that way. I think in the early morning it's supposed to be like -7, but then it warms up by 11 a.m. When I go to the farmer's market, I'm there from 7 until 3. Well, 3:30, I guess. You know, it's a long day and like you're outside all day, but I think if I layer properly and I do all the things and, you know, basically start packing today, this afternoon for Saturday, then I think it'll be good. So I've already started packing like a few things, you know, just from around my office because I haven't had a market since December. So many things I want to get done and so many things I had to pack. I'm probably going to take my market bag out of the car because I was just shoving everything in there the last few markets of the year, because what's the point of taking it out of the car when you have to do it multiple times a week? So I'm probably going to take it out of the car, bring it in here, bring in my other little market basket that I have that I like to take instead of like the big bag that I have. I was just using the big bag for the sweater market mainly, and then I just never changed it after that. So doing my plushie inventory, I think I filmed that on Tuesday. Yeah, I filmed it on Tuesday. Didn't really do much filming yesterday, just that little outro you would have seen from last week. You know, now I know what I have for plushies, which is really fun. And then I was saying to Steve, the husband, last night, I had said, I don't know what to take to the market on Saturday. And he was like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I have my sweaters. I think I have like 10 sweaters right now. I have the big chunky blankets. And then I have the plushies. And he's like, oh, why don't you take all of them? I was like, I don't know if I can fit all of them in my car. And I definitely can't fit the blankets and the sweaters on my clothing rack. So he's like, okay, well, just take your blankets and sweaters. And I was like, yeah, but the plushies. And he's like, well, people aren't looking for plushies. And I was like, you'd be surprised. People love those plushies. And I had said also another issue with that then is I take plushies. People only look at the plushies. They don't notice anything else like blankets or sweaters because plushies are so cute. And I run into this issue every single time. And it's like, oh man, I just want all my things to sell, obviously. So I have to decide that within the next, I don't know, 24 hours or so. I really don't know what to do. But I guess you'll find out soon when I do.
Snack time. I find it so funny when Larry relaxes with his paws straight out. What a goofy boy.
I just grabbed my big market bag from the car, this big thing here, and then also my little basket. This is normally what I take to the farmer's market. It's just something from the dollar store, and it usually holds all my items. But with the sweater market, you know, there's a bunch of other things that I had to take. So I don't want to take this to the farmer's market because it's excessive. But I know there's a bunch of junk in here that I don't need anymore. So let's go through them together and I can show you what I mean. These I got at the Dollar Tree. Of course, I'm keeping them. They are little chalkboards. I have my clamp. Well, this is one of my clamps, and it's really tough. So if it's a windy day at the market, because, you know, I've talked about that before, I no longer need this for my tablecloth because I got the black stretchy ones that go under the legs, which is handy. But if I want to strap down, like my spinning thing that I've been key chains on for a while, or scrunchies or whatever, I use this thing. So I just always have my market bag just in case. I bought these little canvases while I was in a pinch. They're 5x7. When I couldn't find little chalkboard things at the Dollar Tree, I just got these from Dollarama, and I was putting, you know, just anything and everything on these. Should I keep them? I can donate them. I can see if my friend wants these. My friend who's the artist, she might want these. I always have a tarp because at the farmer's market, I don't take a tent or anything. We have a tent in the family, but it's one of the original 10x10 tents, and it's like 100 pounds, and I am not dealing with that. So just in case it spits or rains, I just quickly throw this over my booth. I have a whole bunch of my QR codes in here that my friend printed with her sticker business for me because I had some old QR codes on my old business cards, but now those are all gone. So I have all these QR codes I really don't need, but I'm going to keep them just in case, you know, I change my website or whatever. These QR codes will always remain the same and like towards me type thing. I have a little sticker pack to give out. Another little sticker pack. Another one. Another one, another one. I have a good size paper bag, but I use these obviously for plushies. So somebody buys a big plushie, I like to have different sizes of bags. Sunscreen, because I needed that a lot in the summer. Likely won't need it in the winter, but I'm not going to toss it. They're expensive. I have green masking tape because you never know when you're going to need tape, and you never know when you're going to need something different than Scotch tape. So I'm gonna keep both tapes. I have a fly swatter because bugs happen. I have a little box of safety pins. I use safety pins for a lot of things. So attaching the prices to my plushies, and then when somebody purchases and says, oh, I really don't want the safety pin, could you take it off? And I give them my little card, you know, for care, like how to take care of your plushie, your blanket, whatever. And then I keep the safety pin. I also have my neck fan in here, and this basket has been in the garage for a while, so I'm curious if this still holds a charge in the cold. Yeah, still at 100%. So that's pretty amazing, honestly. I have some really long zip ties because you never know when you're going to need a zip tie. Maybe thinking, wow, Melissa, you seemed a little over-prepared for a lot of things. And that's true, but that's just me. Because you know how many times I've rescued my vendor neighbor with, you know, my big magic bag of tricks? Or I guess magic basket of tricks. And people are always thankful for that, and therefore they'll cover your bathroom breaks if you need them to. I have a used napkin. That's fun. I have a pen, because you never have too many pens. That's the first pen we found in here today. I have 2 elastics. Who knows what for or from. And then I have my acrylic paint markers. I accidentally ruined one of the little cardboard signs because I thought these were my chalk markers. They're not. They're totally different. These are not erasable. But they worked really well on those little white canvas things. I can't really hold it up, so I'm just going to show you using the camera. Remaining in the basket is a bunch of grass and debris. So obviously that is not going to stay, so I can go clean that out. It's going to be hard to do this without the bag crinkles, so basically what I'm going to do when I edit is separate my vocals. It usually works pretty well, so fingers crossed it works again. So in my big bag are all the Valentine's Day themed bags I recently purchased from our local thrift store. I like to support them because they put all the money back into our community. So when I purchased these, I just quickly threw them in my market bag, which has been in my car for months. This is also something I bought from the thrift store. It's like a big reusable bag, and you know, I was putting sweaters in here or blankets when people were purchasing them from me, and they're pretty large, so I'm gonna keep using those. Another pen, another bag, another bag. I have one tinsel garland I never ended up using at the sweater market. Here's a dog toy that my best friend got for Larry for Christmas, and I just threw it in this bag and forgot about it, so here it is. It is a snake. Here's my notepad that I keep all my market sales in. Here we have some brown lunch bags. I use these for like mystery plushies if I have mystery plushies, or if I'm handing out mystery scrunchies after somebody purchases a sweater. Here's my other clamp mesh laundry bag that I give out when I sell a sweater. One of my black stretchy tablecloths. Here are a few of my chalk markers. I do have more, but I don't always take them with me. I was taking those acrylic markers. So I probably will take the rest of the chalk markers. You know, say I'm always over prepared. Here's some bungee cords, because you never know when you need a zip tie, a bungee cord, tape, or a hole punch. I know I'm over prepared, but that will never change. And the drawstring bags I use from the dollar store. I use these when I either sell, usually a sweater. The big chunky blankets don't fit into here, but if somebody bought like a baby blanket that's like corner to corner forever fleece, they would fit in here. And I like that they have the drawstrings so people can actually, like, you know, wrap around their wrist. Pair of scissors. Even more zip ties, but these are smaller. I have a mirror. There you guys are. And I had this at the sweater market because I had a bunch of like double pom-pom beanies that I want people to be able to see themselves with. One zip tie that fell out of that little baggie. These are from the dollar store. I put my double pom beanies on these, and my mannequin head sits on top of one. These 2 things here like connect them, and then the mannequin head fits on top of one of these rods so she doesn't blow away. Here's the rest of my plastic bags. I knew I had more. I have a pair of socks because I never know when my feet are going to get cold. I have this little memo notepad just in case I forget my other notepad. And here are my keychain supplies. So we have the wire rings that would go through the plushie, and then the little connector thingies. These are little chalkboard signs I had ordered off of Temu a while ago. And this was the one that I had ruined with the acrylic marker. So this right here is the chalk marker. And you can see it comes off okay. I mean, they are pretty strong, and like it's been in the garage forever, so it's quite cold. So you see it comes off with a little bit of like spit, but this one is the one that I ruined, and it's the acrylic marker. It is not coming off of there, but luckily I do make Drift the Octopus, so I can always still use this as a display. So the green that's on there is like a smudge chalk marker. Comes off no problem. But the acrylic marker, it is not coming off. I did do it at 6 a.m. one morning at the farmer's market, so I have forgiven myself for that. In total, I have 3 of these. And 1 more zip tie. And that's everything that's in the bag. Wonder how many things we pulled out of the bag. I'm not going to count. I mean, I could count while I'm editing, but I probably won't.
Packing the car today, tomorrow, Friday is supposed to be much colder. Working on a short row beanie while watching Wheel and Jeopardy.
Well, how about that? My favorite human, Steve, is home.
Happy Friday. It's about 12 noon-ish right now. I have my little volunteer position this morning as snack lady, so this would be my last day, unfortunately. I wish I had the opportunity like earlier, but I guess some lady had left and then I took over for her for, what, a month and a half now. So, oh well, that's okay. They were understanding, of course. So last night on that time lapse, you would have seen me make another short row beanie, and it turned out wonderfully. I'm gonna take off my headband, because sometimes they kind of pull at the yarn. So I finished this one, and this was with the Impressions yarns from Loops and Threads. I double-stranded it. I really didn't need to double-strand it, but I wanted to be like really thick. So I think it turned out wonderfully. Let me do a spin. I love these colors. Aren't they beautiful? I can't remember what this color name was called, but we would have went through that, I think, last week. Oh, Blue Raspberry. That's what it was. And then the other one I purchased is Laffy Taffy. I haven't worked with it yet. And I had a little bit left of the Blue Raspberry, but honestly not a whole lot. I already took it upstairs to put into my corner scrappy blanket. In this short row beanie pattern, when you look at the tutorial from Crystal at Bag O' Day, she says to do 6 sections, but she uses a 5.5mm hook, I think, and a worsted weight yarn. So she does 6 sections. When I double strand these and I use an 8mm hook, I did 3 sections in total, and it turned out just perfectly sized. I did make it a bit too long, but that's fine because I can fold over the brim and have more warmth that way. So that's totally cool. I have to decide if I want to do that exact same thing with Laffy Taffy yarn, or if I want to do a different, like, you know, single strand, smaller hook, etc. Probably not. After my volunteer shift today, I went to our local department store, Giant Tiger, and I got this nice top for, I think, $7 on clearance. So it's like an ombre top. It's really pretty. It's not the best fit, but for $7, it's a nice house shirt. Matches this hat really well, so that's cool. I also got some socks, and for my new workplace, I'm working in a cubicle, and I noticed that the floor in there is tile, and my feet get cold, like my toes get cold. I wanted to get, like, something I had at Spin Rate was under the desk. I just had a cute little floor mat I got from Walmart for $12. I just got one of those for under my desk at the new place. That was nice, the Giant Tiger. I always go there for rugs or area rugs or whatever, because sometimes they have them on clearance for $9 for like a 4x6, and you can't beat $9. So the rug I got today, I didn't bring it in to show you or anything. I got it for $5, and it matches their interior in there. It's mainly blue and like navy. That was the thought that I had just last night, and I was like, oh, I should do that because I don't want to go there and then have cold feet. Literally not like being nervous. I'm not really nervous about it. I love meeting new people. I'll be fine that way. Something I bought at Walmart today. I wanted to go in and get some oatmeal while it was on sale. I like to eat that for like breakfast in the morning. Of course, I went through the yarn aisle, not expecting to find anything, but I found something really beautiful. And I've seen Lion Brand yarn, or was it landscapes before, but I've never seen like renewed. And it's recycled polyester. Let me read you the details. It's 75% polyester and then 25% recycled polyester, so it's 1/4 recycled really. And oh my god, it is so soft. I can't believe it. At first I was a little afraid it was kind of like the roving style, like the facets yarn from Loops and Threads, but it's actually like a chainette. Just take a look. Absolutely beautiful, and I love this color. There was, I think, 6 different colorways, but I love yellow and I love pink. Those are my 2 favorite colors. And I was like, oh, I can't leave this behind. It's so beautiful just going like this. It's so soft. Last night I also finished up one of my knitted swatches. And then during the day yesterday, you would have seen in a time lapse, I was also working on some knitted swatches. I showed those to you guys via time lapse because it's yarns that already exist. I did it during the Olympic hockey game yesterday, so that worked out great, and I dropped them off this morning. And they were like, oh wow, already? And I said, you're lucky hockey was on yesterday. So it was a busy day yesterday. Got those 4 knitted swatches done in total, 3 of them being the 10-inch ones, and then an 18-inch swatch with like the new product that you can't see. Did I do any crocheting? Oh yeah, I guess I made this hat, but I think that's it for crocheting. I think this afternoon, it's Friday, so I'm home now for the day, as far as I know anyway. And I'm going to make another bunny for the bunny pattern roundup. I think I probably will just do a few more because I start my job next week. I really won't have time for amigurumi, and that's fine. It's okay. I'd rather make money and, be able to afford things again than, continue with amigurumi.
Time for a couch snooze as Ma works on another bunny. She put a sticker over the TV screen just in case y'all also watch High Potential. No spoilers will be given here. I was a good boy in the car yesterday while running errands, so Ma took me into my favorite store for a treat.
It's now Friday evening, and I have to go to bed early tonight because, as I said, I want to go to the farmer's market tomorrow, as long as the weather holds up just fine. So far, so good. I just checked it. This afternoon, while watching the hockey game, you would have seen on time-lapse there, I made 2 bunnies. I don't think I time-lapsed this one. I don't remember. But so cute. This will be in the Bunny Pattern Roundup series. And then also this one. They're both adorable. So one's like a laying down flute type of thing. And then the other one's like a sitting bunny. Both very cute. Both beginner friendly. You can see more details when I do the Bunny Pattern Roundup video. I'm thinking that these are going to be the last bunnies that I do for that video just because I want to go for a short WALK with the puppy dog this evening, because I want to be in bed early, as I said. Good morning and welcome to Sunday, the 15th of February. I got 0 footage yesterday because I did end up going to the farmer's market. It was a really good day. I actually had record-breaking sales. I was shocked. I mean, things were selling, of course, and when I take my notepad with me, and I have my notebook, as you see, and I packed my bag and stuff, I just didn't feel like writing things down because it was so cold. I didn't want to take my hands out of my gloves to write things down, so I took my hands out of my gloves every few minutes and did the dictation thing on my phone in the Notes app. So now I have emailed that note to myself so I can read off my computer because, of course, it's on my phone. So leaving in the morning, of course, you're always concerned about the roads here in Canada, but I knew it was supposed to be really warm. So the roads would be clear and a little bit of ice, but not too bad. But the problem was, and it took me an hour and 5 minutes to get into the city when it usually takes me about 40 minutes. So an extra 25 minutes. The fog was so crazy because it was so cold and then it warmed up so quickly. I could not see 8 feet in front of me. It was absolutely terrifying. And I probably had to go 50, 60 kilometers the entire way. And it sucked so much. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. But you know what? I made it. I'm alive. I'm safe. But I don't think I would want to do that again. I thought about turning around, but there really wasn't anywhere comfortable that made me want to turn around. And I thought, you know what? I'm up this early. I'm not going to go back home. I want to make money. So got to the market, and usually in the morning you have to line up for a spot, and they give you a bingo chip with a number on it and you go in order, but there was only 2 of us there. And the people were there ahead before me, so I said, honestly, just let them go first. It doesn't matter. Because there's nobody else there, I knew it was going to get a good spot. So you just seen my plushie inventory. Was that in last week's vlog? Yeah, that was last week's vlog. All these vlogs start to kind of fuse together in my brain. So you would have seen all my plushie inventory last week. So let's go through what ended up selling. I don't have photos of a lot of these items, so just FYI. If I do have photos, I will put them up here. But let's go through this quickly so I don't ramble too much. First thing to sell was from my $5 bin, and she bought all 3 of those little tiny chickens that you guys would have seen. Next up was a brown bear. It was the one out of the funny loops and threads yarn that I got from Alexandria. I don't have a picture of it, but you would have seen it in my plushie inventory. I ended up selling him for 10 instead of 15, and she also bought the $5 mini kitty that I was going to save for myself but decided not to. Don't get too mad at me because this is my decision, and too bad, so sad. I ended up selling my blankets yesterday for $50 instead of the usual 99-ish plus, just because I don't want them taking up too much space in my house, and with starting my new job soon, I want to kind of get things sold as quickly as possible so I can just kind of have a fresh mind instead of, being annoyed by them every time I go in my back room because they were piled and it was a big stack. I had 9 in total, and yesterday 4 of them sold. So the first one to be sold was the black obsidian blanket. It was the gold and black one, so here's a picture of that. And they also bought a possum for $5. I have a whole bunch of possums right now, and I put 2 or 3 of them in the $5 bin. Next up, I sold the mosaic blanket, and I am kind of sad that I sold it for $50, but that's okay, because sure, I could sell it for 100, but like, how long would it be until I sold it? So it's this one here. So she bought that for $50. She was very, very excited. It was actually a gift for her aunt or grandmother or something. So I thought that was so sweet. And then her friend that was with her bought my pink scrappy turtle. So that was really nice. And I sell those for $30. The 3 palm turtles that I had left, I put them on my $10 rack because I didn't have them tagged and I need to fill up that rack. So I was like, you know what, they can go there, it's fine. So I'm gonna put the picture up of all 3 of them. I have a group shot, I think, because spoiler alert, all 3 of them sold yesterday. So the first one to sell was the one with the more of like pink in the shell, the scrappy looking Sweet Snuggles one. Next up was my mint jellyfish. I'm excited that that sold before the black or the gray and rainbow one, because I always say that mint is the best seller one. If I have a mint one, it sells first. So I was right. And that usually does work out that way. Next up, I sold Pipsy the snuggler, or sorry, Pipsy the pig. And that was the, I don't know if I have a picture of her, but here's the pattern thumbnail. And I think I sold her for $30. Honestly, it was very confusing because there was like 10 people buying something from me at once and it's just me, right? So I was, I think they said 30 and I was like, yeah, cool, right? And I took his cash, I shoved it in my pocket and went to the next person. So I'm pretty sure I sold her for 30. It might have been 35. I don't remember. And I never really wrote it down. I just put down Pipsy the pig snuggler. So I was happy that, you know, she's going to a home where somebody's really going to love her. Next up is one of the fat ass frogs. Sold that for 15. And that was the Lion brand yarn. I guess no, it wasn't a fat ass frog. It was the Mom Stitch Jenny mini frog that I had doubled up. This lady was trying to decide because she said her niece really loves frogs. And she goes, do you have any other frogs? And I said, no, all the frogs are on this little white rack that I have. So she ended up going with that one. And she was like, oh, it's heavier than the others. And I had said, yeah, instead of packing it with just like polyfill, I actually put in the rest of that scrap yarn. She goes, oh, that's smart. So reduce, reuse. And I said, yes, exactly. Next up to sell was another nice woman. She had come by looking for a gift for a birthday party that she was going to. I think she said it was her niece or her cousin's daughter, something. And she had said, do you have any Komodo dragons? And I said, oh, I have a little baby dragon. I said, it's more of like a mystical looking dragon. So this blue one that you would have seen in my plushie inventory. And she goes, no. She goes, do you have anything else like lizard themed? And I had said, well, there's an axolotl snuggler. She goes, oh, axolotls? She talks about those. And I was like, oh, of course. How old is she? Like 7, 8? She goes, yeah, she's turning 8. So that was so funny. She goes, okay, well, where is it? I don't know what it looks like. And I said, okay. So I showed it to her. And she was like, oh, yeah, definitely buying that one. Is that one 25? And I said, yes, 25. Next up to sell was the other scrappy turtle, the scrappy looking one. And then right after that, I had to look at my notes, is the other turtle. So I'll keep that photo up. After that, it was kind of a whirlwind because 2 people had bought those 2 turtles, like bang, bang, boom, you know, one after the other. And then somebody's looking through my $5 bin. They said, okay, we're gonna get 2 items. Here's $10. So I seen them grab the ugly bunny that I had recently made from Crochet Me Zaddy. It wasn't a horrible pattern. It wasn't an ugly pattern. It was just the yarn that I chose. So they grabbed that and they grabbed something else, but I don't remember what it was because, as I said, it was busy. So 2 $5 items there. Next up, I sold my elephant snuggler. There was a cute little girl. She's probably like 6 years old. And she was like, would you accept 15 for this elephant? Because there's no price on it. And I said, yes, that's fine. And she was so cute. So I was like, no problem at all. I mean, I would have loved to sell them for 20, but $5 is fine. And I really like that pattern, so I'll definitely make it again. It's by Cozy Friend Creations. I had taken all of my Easter bunnies that I have been making recently for the Bunny Pattern Roundup series, and I finally ended up selling one. I'm like, hello, people. There's a whole basket full of cute bunnies. And then every time somebody would say, what's your favorite? I'd pull out one of those bunnies that I've been enjoying making. Somebody finally bought one, and it was pink and white. I think it was a variegated yarn that I had. Right after that, I had to go to the bathroom, basically. So luckily, the vendor neighbors that I had was a married couple, and she was helping everybody out with bathroom breaks because the guy next to me on the other side, he was also alone. And so she was happy to help, and she was really sweet. Her name was Sarah. She was very nice. And she seen me doing, my pee dance, and she was like, do you have to go to the bathroom? And I was like, yeah. So she's like, okay, no problem, I'll watch your booth for you. And then I came back and she was selling something for me. I never actually had a vendor neighbor do that. Usually, we just say like, oh, they'll be back in 2 minutes. But maybe this guy was in a hurry, I don't know. But she was selling him my fox snuggler that I had made in the 31 new pattern series in December. So that was really nice. So I got him a bag and everything. I got back just as he was like, I'm gonna buy this. And she was selling it to him. So that was really sweet of her. Right after that, I sold a $5 mini frog. And then right after that, somebody came up and bought the Bun Bun bunny snuggler, the gray one that I had recently made. And right after that, my favorite sale of the day was my spiral blanket. I'm sure, yes, I would have loved to sell that one for $500, but I let it go for $50. This girl, she seen it from probably like 100 feet away, and she was like, what is that thing? And I was like, it's a blanket. And she was like, and so she like hustled over to me and she was like, I have to look at it. So she goes, do you mind holding it up? And I had said, well, the ground's a little like icky. And I had said, I'll just, because I had 2 tables. So I fit plushies on one table, blankets on the other table. So I said, let me just like roll it out for you so you can see like the size and like all the scrappies that are in it. And she was like, okay, all right. So we did that. And she was like, she was so excited, and like it was totally her vibes, and I just had to find the right person for that one because I was calling it my gothic spiral blanket like online and stuff, and she fell in love with it. I was so excited because I also love it, but I don't need to keep a big ass blanket like that. So if you watched last week's vlog, you would have seen me do my plushie inventory and everything, and you would have seen the little koala bear in overalls. Remember I had said, oh, I hated making this, I'll never make it again, I just don't make animals in clothing, what do I sell this for? I said 25, 30? And this little girl came up, and she came back a few times, I think like 5 or 6 times. She kept looking at the koala and putting it back and putting it back, and I didn't have a price tag on him, and I did have a little sign on my table that said no price, ? Make me an offer, right? So I think she was a little shy, but her mom said, it's okay, just ask, right? After like the 6th time that this little girl came back, and she had said, excuse me, I had $10 saved away for something special, and I really want that koala bear. Would you sell me him for $10? And she was so cute, and she had the best manners. So manners go a long way with me, because if somebody says like, will you take $10? I'm like, no. But if somebody says, would you please take $10? Yes, absolutely, no problem. I'll take $10 just because you said please and you asked nicely. So I sold her the koala bear for $10. And honestly, I'm totally fine with that because 1, she was adorable. 2, she asked nicely. And 3, it's fine. It's sold. It's gone. It's not in my inventory anymore. I just like crocheting. This isn't about money for me. Next thing to sell was another blanket, and this was the blue and white one. So here's the photo, and it was a nice elderly couple. They walked past and they were like, that's beautiful. And I said, do you want to see the size? And I had said, they're all different sizes, but they're all the same price at $50. I said, it's just easier on my brain that way. And so I, laid it out for them. They're like, oh, we're going to buy that. That's really cute. That would look really nice on his recliner. So that was really nice. And remember I had said, like, it's perfect for like, stroller size or like on your chair or a couch throw. So that worked out nicely. When I did my plushie inventory, I had said, I'm so surprised that Noodles the kitten hasn't sold, this one here. And I said, it's because I only have one of them and I have such a hard time selling one-off items. But I think what really helped for me yesterday is I basically laid just everything flat on the table so people would actually see everything and not just like browse one section. So I think that really helped because my Easter bunnies in a bucket and my baby safe items in the apple basket as always. I had the frogs on like a white shelf. I had my wooden crates which held like 2 or 3 plushies. It just, adds elevation. And then I had my stack of like gold baskets. I used that for the $10 items. So laying everything flat on the table, like the snugglers that I didn't have. Some of them I had tags, some of them I didn't, but then people like actually looked at everything that I had and not like skipped things, right? So Noodles the kitten sold to a nice girl. She was like, this looks like my friend's cat. Next up, I had a sale of 7 items. So I did end up discounting my last scrappy turtle, this one here. I discounted him half off. I sold him for $15 because they also bought a $15 Easter bunny. So one of the ones that I've been enjoying making. It was purple in color. And then they also bought a $5 mini dragon, like the little one I did from Dr. Choco Crochet. And then they also bought a bee, a mini frog, a possum, and another mini frog for my $5 bin. So I didn't mind discounting that turtle for them. And they were really nice people, so that helped. Getting closer to the end of the day now. There was a nice young couple. You could tell they were celebrating Valentine's Day together. They must have been like high school students. And the nice gentleman, he had said, oh, look, she has a $5 bin. Can I buy you something for Valentine's Day? And she was like, you absolutely can. So she picked out a bee and she had said, I don't know where I'm going to put it. And I said, do you want me to put it on a keychain / bag charm for you? She goes, oh, how much extra is that? And I said, honestly, free. I said, I have so many of these supplies left over from another initiative I did. Next up was 2 cute little kids. You could tell they're little sisters and like just adorable kids. So one of them got a $5 mini frog and the other one got the little purple rubber ducky. I had originally put a $10 price tag on the rubber ducky, but I moved it to the $5 bin so I get her sold because she's the only one I had. So that's okay. Right after that, I had somebody come up and browse through my $5 bins and very quickly decide on 3 bees. These bees that I've been selling that like yesterday, they were all yellow in color. So they bought 3 bees and I said, do you want me to put them on a keychain or anything? She goes, no, actually they're for my coworkers for our desks. And I said, okay, that's cute. And then the last thing to sell of the day was one of my cow snugglers. And there's one that I did not have price tagged. I don't know why, because the other 2 are price tags at $25, but this one didn't. And because of my sign on my table saying no price, make me an offer, this nice lady came up. She goes, would you sell me this for $15? I said, okay, because I was in a good mood because I was selling so much. And I was like, no problem. So that was my last sale of the day. So if my calculations are correct, I sold about 590 to about 610-ish. I mean, it was so busy and like it was steady. It wasn't like a zoo, but like, you know, it's funny because you have lulls for like an hour and then, you know, 20 people buy from you within 15 minutes. And that's just the way yesterday went. So honestly, yeah, I probably did miss 1 or 2 items that I sold because there were a few times where I was like, what did that person buy again? I don't remember. So then I never wrote it down. And my prediction is that I sold around $610. When we added all this up last night, I think it came to like 600 and no, what did it come to? 595 or something like that. I don't remember. I had Steve help me with it last night because I was just so exhausted. It's now Sunday afternoon. Larry is now in for his nap time. Steve got back from work. He was there for a few hours this morning just to cover something or other. And he got home and I sent him downstairs because I was like, I was just about to put Larry in for his nap time. And then of course Steve came home, you know, within 30 seconds of me saying, do you want to go in for nap time? It's just the way it works out sometimes. So he played with Larry for 20 minutes and Larry was like, okay, I'm exhausted. Let me in for my nap. So I sent Steve downstairs to the basement so he can do his own laundry and maybe a round of towels. I came up here because I have a headache today, which isn't super common for me, but you know, being outside all day yesterday in the elements, I'm not really used to. I never mentioned what we ended up doing for Valentine's Day yesterday. The answer is absolutely nothing. I had told Steve earlier in the week, I said, don't bother giving me flowers this year. I said, they're so expensive now, and they last for, you know, a few days when they're cut off the stem. That's okay. I said, instead of putting $20 into flowers, please put $25 into these. I love these so much. I love Cadbury chocolate. So this is the variety pack. It has the caramel eggs, the cream eggs, and the little plain chocolate eggs. And I find these delicious. I'd much rather even put the money into that because I keep it up here and I have like a few at night as I'm winding down for bed usually. I'm going to continue working on my knitted swatch, and then I also brought up that other, well, the new skein of the Charisma loops and threads in the color Daisy so I can continue my short row beanie. I honestly have like maybe like 5 rows left, but it's because I'm doing half double crochet, as I said. So I'd like to finish that up today. I think that'd be nice to do. But I want to finish up one of my swatches first. My short row beanie is finished. It is a bit big, as you can kind of see there, but I'm fine with that because sometimes it's so cold here, you want to wear 2 hats. So I'd be happy to wear like a thinner hat underneath and then this one over top of that one. And I don't mind at all. I do like making them a little bit longer than they need to be, so you can do like a really large folded brim, because then, you know, your ears do have more protection. I'm pleased with it. Yes, it could be smaller, but I'm fine with that because, as I said, sometimes you want to wear 2 hats here in the winter. I am feeling a little bit better since being up here and resting and drinking a bunch of water.
30 seconds later.
I made the executive decision to frog the beanie. That was just too big because I was thinking to myself, I was like, am I going to reach for it? Probably not. So started over with single crochet rather than half double. So that's probably why it was too big. It was just too, I don't know, bulky and added, you know, a little bit of like height per stitch or per row, I guess. Single crochet is what I'm going to have to do. And I did the exact same thing with the blue beanie I had made out of the Loops and Threads Impressions yarn the other day. Halfway through that time lapse you would have seen I also frogged that one because I wasn't liking the way it was turning out with half double. So I guess I should just stick to single crochet like the pattern / tutorial follows. Oh well, live and learn. One of the best parts about going to the market is coming home and counting all the cash that you bring home. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you guys Canadian bills in case you've never seen any. I don't have any $100 bills today. Nope, I had to double check. Sometimes you get them. Here we have a $50 bill. Here's the back side of it. I am covering up the barcode because a lot of people do try to print these, but they made it a lot harder in recent years because of the holographic piece, and also it's plastic, so it's very hard to replicate from what I understand. Lots of $20 bills, that's fun. Here's our green $20 bill, and that's something that I love about Canadian bills, is they're all different colors, because when I go shopping in the USA, years past, you know, with my grandmother and stuff, everything is green, and it's like, okay, you have to look at little numbers. But it's easy when you're in Canada. And the back of our $20 bill. The $10 bill is a bit different. It is more of like a landscape. I really don't know why. And here is the back of it. And last but not least, for today anyway, we have our $5 bill. I love the holographic. It is nice to have. And like the leaf is so pretty because it's see-through. And here is the back. Happy Monday. I just tried to get Larry out of bed. It's about 10:15 right now, and he was like looking up at me like, God no. So I don't know, maybe he didn't sleep overnight. So I was like, okay, I'll close your crate back up. Hi. Are you still snoozing? Do you want to snooze some more? I'm sorry, I thought you were awake. Do you want to keep snoozing? Yeah. You want to keep snoozing? Okay, that's fine. Don't. It's okay, you keep snoozing. And if he's overtired, that's when the whole a-hole thing starts. And he does get groomed tomorrow. So I think honestly he's just hot. He doesn't sleep well, but he's hot. So when I get up in the morning, I turn the furnace down because overnight Steve turns it to like 70 or 71. I don't know why. It's crazy. I sleep with the bedroom window open. He says, oh, I'm so cold. And I'm like, stop. So when I get up in the morning, I usually turn it down to 68 or 67. So Larry can sleep comfortably for a bit at least. So after the farmer's market on Saturday, as I mentioned, I went and got Freshie for supper. I love Freshie so much. It's so good. It's like a build your own stir fry place. And I always get like a bowl, a teriyaki bowl. Yum, yum. And then when I was at the market, I looked at Michael's online and it was the good coupon. It was 40% off one regular price item. And they had just released the new Caron cake. So I was like, I really want to get over there and see. So I asked Steve, the husband, to send me his 2 coupons from his phone and I could use them on my phone because I really don't ever buy more than 4 items. And ironically, this day, I bought 5 items because they had the new Caron cakes. I ended up getting 2 sweetie cakes, both in different colors, but the amount of yardage in here is pretty impressive. It's 480 yards, and it's just so cute. I know it's a worsted 4-weight, but I'm going to double strand it because the repeat looks the same. So if I split this in half and like get the repeat to look good, like similar together, I want to do another short row beanie. And this is the color Jelly Bean. Such a beautiful, beautiful colorway. The other one I got is called Sunshine Pop. Absolutely gorgeous. I texted my friend at SpinRite, my former workplace, and I had said, what you did with the sweetie cakes is absolutely beautiful. And she goes, I didn't think you'd like them because they're worsted for it. And I said, I don't care. I might just keep this as a decoration because it's just so cute. I never thought I'd call a ball of yarn cute, but it's just so cute and tiny and like squishy. And the amount of yardage is pretty impressive for this cute little thing. I really don't know what I'm going to make with these next 2. They're both the same colorway, and I did that on purpose. And they are Caron upside down cakes, and this is the color Candy Floss. It's so beautiful. To me, it reminds me of like Lisa Frank, the 90s, whatever you call it, artwork. That's just what it reminds me of. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. It's a really soft 4-weight yarn. To me, it's like a bulky 4, like it's quite thick. So I might double strand it, I might single strand it. Maybe I'd make myself a scarf. They are pretty soft. They're not like the softest in the world, obviously, because it's acrylic, but they're still quite nice. Oh, I think I did this one with another yarn haul. They look like boobies. So I do like this yarn. And as I said, I don't know what I'm going to make with it, but I had to have them because they're so beautiful. And the Caron cakes, as we all know, sell out so freaking fast because how wonderful they are. Let me show you the difference between like a 4-weight and a 4-weight. So let me just show you they're both considered a 4-weight. So you see the 4 right there. And here you also see the 4. Okay, so look at the size difference in the strands. It's pretty noticeable. But all in all, great yarns. Every time that my friend at work is developing the Caron brands, she always sends me pictures and she's like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? I'm like, yes. And I remember doing the swatches for the sweetie cakes. It was, I don't know, however long ago. and such a thin yarn to knit with, and I hated them because of how thin it was and you had to do really big swatches. I love this so much. Honestly, I might go back for more before they sell out, just because of how beautiful they are. So the 40% off coupon got it down to, I don't remember how much before tax, but after tax, so all in, each of these cost me $10.16. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and we have 13% tax. I had to get one other thing, and you've already seen that. That is the extra Charisma daisy thing I'm doing with the short row beanie upstairs that I had to restart. So 5 items in total. So these 4 and the one that I already have upstairs. But I'm just obsessed with these tiny cute little things. I came home and I said to Steve, I was like, look how cute. And he's like, yeah, it's a pretty yarn. And I was like, no, look how cute like the structure is. It's so tiny and adorable. He's like, yeah, you're right. You never had anything like that before. And I said, that's right. He goes, well, what about those big cakes that you always screamed at me about? I was like, those are the anniversary cakes, like those big ones. And the reason I had screamed at him about them, I was working on a hexagon cardigan, and it was like almost all unraveled because you know how big those cakes are. And I was at near the end of the cake, so it was like jumbled in a tangle. Well, it wasn't. But then Steve picked it up and moved it to the other side of the couch one day, just like scooped it up and grabbed it and threw it on the other side of the couch. And I cried because it took me 4 hours to untangle that 5 seconds of thing that he just did. Oh man, was I mad? And he was like, I didn't think you'd cry about it. I just moved your yarn. I was like, this yarn you cannot move, and I've already told you this. So he got an earful that day. Plus I hate that yarn, so not fun to untangle, not fun to work with. I will never buy an anniversary cake. I hate how much it sheds. And you can't talk to anybody while you're working on it because you swallow the fuzzies. It's so gross. I hate that yarn. I finished up the round of swatches that I had been working on. So I finished that up this morning. I started the 24-inch one last night, the final one. We watched the Roadhouse movie from 2024. We love the original Patrick Swayze, but I had never seen this new one, so I was like, you know what, let's watch it. It's on Prime Videos. It was a good movie, and I got almost all that 24-inch swatch done in the 2 hours. I think I had like 6 more rows to go this morning. So that's all finished up. Everything's packaged. I'll drop it off tomorrow. I'm in town for some errands. And then on Wednesday, the day after, so 2 more sleeps, I start my new job. I am so excited. I'm so excited. Steve's like, are you excited? He's asked me all weekend, like, 2 more sleeps, 3 more sleeps. I'm just so excited. I said to Steve yesterday, I was like, is it Wednesday yet? So this morning, as I said, I finished that swatch, came downstairs, did some editing, took a shower. I've been winding up some yarn on my Stanwood winder for a little bit. Then I tried to get Larry out, but clearly that's not happening for a little bit yet. And that's okay. And I still have a few more skeins of yarn to wind, so I want to get that done probably this morning, just so I can put them on my yarn cubes. And unfortunately, I can't show you any of the yarn that I am winding up because it was from the swatches. I'm keeping all the excess yarn. Well, not all of it. I'm keeping most of it. I'm sending back a few scraps here and there, just so I don't look too greedy. I plan on doing that for a little bit. I don't know really what the day holds. Today is Family Day here in Ontario, so it's a stat holiday, so most of the stores aren't open. So I don't know if we'll venture out. Honestly, we might venture out to get like some lunch or something. Maybe go to Tim Horton to get Larry a Timbit or 2 and get a sandwich. I don't know. I haven't been out of the house. Well, I didn't go anywhere yesterday. Maybe we'll go out today, maybe we won't. I don't know. As I said, we have a busy day tomorrow. I'm getting my hair cut before my new job starts. Larry gets groomed. Something I think would be fun to do today, because I want to give my wrists a break from knitting, because I find knitting harder on the wrist than I do crochet, especially if you're doing it for how many days in a row. Especially the yarn that I just worked with was very dense. It's kind of like Bernat Blanket old formula. But something I think would be fun to do today is I have this yarn, so the Bernat Blanket tweeds in the color Dove Tweed. I want to see how many chicken bodies I can get out of this, because all my chickens sold at the farmer's market this past weekend, and they're such a good seller, even at $10 or $5 or whatever. I would like to make more at some point. I'm going to wind this into a cake just because I like working with a cake more than, like a regular skein of yarn. So there is 260 grams. I just weighed it before I caked it up. No promises that I will get to this today, but that's the thought in my head.
I can show you this yarn on time-lapse because it's an existing product. Finally taking the time to get my new steam mop set up. Let's start with my office.
Hoo-wee! I sure was tired this morning. It's now afternoon, so I guess I will get out of my bed.
Let's get started on these chickens. Have any guesses on how many this skein will produce?
Having all this hair sure makes me a tired, cranky boy. I look forward to my haircut tomorrow.
Today is my last day of being unemployed. I can't believe I'm finally saying that after 13-ish months of being unemployed. I am so excited to go back to work. So I probably won't do a whole lot of fiber arts today. We do have a busy day already. I have a haircut at 11:45, just getting like, an inch taken off for a refresh. And then Larry also gets his haircut this afternoon. This morning I spent time upstairs. I steam mopped the floors, swept the floors, did the bathroom, all that stuff. Because I want to get a whole bunch of cleaning done before I head back to work. So excited. It's been so long. I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge for me to get back into the swing of things because I have kind of kept the same schedule, like sleep-wise and, life-wise, I guess, since being unemployed because I didn't know when I was going to find a job. Sure, I didn't think it was going to be 13 months, but it could have been 2 or 3, could have been 4. So I've always, headed upstairs around 9 p.m. and then I'm usually asleep around, well, at least by midnight. So I usually do a little bit of crocheting or knitting, pet Larry for a little bit. He goes back down to his crate, like in the living room. And I like to sleep 6 or 7 hours a night, usually around 6. That's like my sweet spot. So if I'm asleep around midnight and I'm up at 6, that's like my ideal situation. The hardest part about working long hours full time is having time to clean and do household work because who wants to do that on the weekend? But sometimes you have to. Something I was doing before, and this was really effective, is I had a little schedule for myself that, I cleaned one room or did like one cleaning task like on a Monday night. I did one on a Tuesday night, etc., etc., etc. And then the weekends were free for, laundry or, other cleaning things, but, just, 5 minutes of your time in pockets. So you take laundry down the basement, you put it in. You come back upstairs, clean the kitchen a little bit, go back downstairs for the laundry. So that's something I'm going to have to revisit because I don't know where that schedule is and I don't remember what it was. I've just gotten used to, doing things throughout the day here at home and, maintaining my house that way. And it's been working out well for me, but, things have to change and I'm excited to have income again. I'm going to be making more money per hour, which is nice. Yesterday, I was able to complete all these chickens. I thought about just doing the bodies, but then I thought, you know what? While I was watching Jeopardy! Wheel of Fortune, I just embroidered the beaks and the combs on top, because why not? I haven't counted them, so we're going to count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I'm going to do the math afterwards, but that means that 260 grams divided by 15, meaning each of my little chickens took this many grams. And then I'm also going to post like the little pattern here I use for the chicken bodies. I'll just type it out. It's really simple. And then basically I just do 2 or 3 passes with the gold for the beak. And then for the comb, I do something different every time. I usually start with a slip stitch, double, double, single, slip stitch. And honestly, the combs you can basically do whatever you want as long as there's a little bit of height to them. So these will go in my $5 bin whenever I get back to the farmer's market or some indoor markets. I don't have any acceptances for markets right now. I'm going to skip the sweater market this year. I've already told them that because it's a 3-day event and with my new job, I really don't want to commit to that 3-day event. I know it's not till November. Am I going to have time to make sweaters? Am I going to have the mental effort? And I think it'd be kind of nice to skip 1 year, maybe 2 years, and then go back after with some more sweaters and then, give people the anticipation. That's all I have for you right now. I need to continue cleaning. I'm going to get Larry out of bed in a second here. Continue cleaning, have some breakfast, go get my haircut, get a few groceries, come back for Larry, get him to the groomer. It's just a full day, but I'm excited to start work tomorrow. Thank you for getting your collar. Thank you.
Well, what time is my haircut? I am tired of waiting. Inspection time. Officer Larry reporting for duty. So far, no suspicious goods. Actually, those ham slices should be confiscated. Just get them to me. I will make sure they are disposed of. I smell blueberries in here. Yum, yum, yum. Ooh, raspberries? How about I take those and spit them on the floor where they should be?
It was a beautiful sunny day. Love when my disco ball catches the sun.
Happy Wednesday evening from the couch. I started my new full-time job today. It was a bit of a crazy day. I was up at 5 a.m., which is fine, doing some knitting like I'm doing right now. And came downstairs, had a shower, and then I put some breakfast on the stove and the hydro/electricity went out. And it's like, darn it, I should have made my breakfast, ate, and then showered, but you know, you can't predict these things. So, oh well. I just had to go 2 more for breakfast. That's not really a habit I want to start. I used to do that quite a bit when I worked at Spinrite. Just, you know, if it's really hard for me because of ADHD, like I can't seem to get everything done in the morning, even if I'm up, you know, 3 hours before work like today. Oh well, but that's okay. I mean, it was just for today. Tomorrow I already have breakfast and everything planned. As long as the hydro's on, we're good. My new job went well today. It looks like I'm going to be shadowing another girl for I don't know how long, hopefully not too long, because I just want to jump in and get started because I'm the type of person who can't sit still, as you all know. And today was such a snooze fest. I mean, I was, you know, kind of like locked in, as they say, like focused for the like entire morning. But by the time 1 o'clock rolled around, my medication had worn off. So I think for this week, I might have to take another one of my ADHD medications at lunchtime and then go back so I can like stay focused. I think once like I'm able to, you know, jump in and like get the tasks done and stuff, I'll be good because like I'll be, you know, aware of what I'm doing and, you know, it'll be busy enough to keep me focused, I guess would be the right word. But today, oh my God, it was so boring. Oh man. Wanted to fall asleep at the end. And the hours are pretty long. It's from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Sometimes you stay a little bit, a few minutes later, just, you know, what needs done. So where I'm working is a freight brokerage company. So basically like the middleman. So if somebody has to ship something from, you know, Alberta to Ontario, we're the ones who would call different brokers or freight companies and say, hey, we have this load. Could you fit it on one of your trucks, etc., etc. And it seems like they're really, really busy. Like they, like the girl that I was shadowing all day, like she was, like, you know, just answering email after email, creating load after load and all this stuff. Wow. Yeah. I mean, they were busy. Yeah. I mean, it's a good team. There's only, I think, 7 of us. Plus, you know, some people that were coming in for meetings or whatever. Yeah. I never actually worked in a cubicle before. I mean, I have, you know, the odd time, like at my previous workplace. But I was always in the front lobby at the reception desk. This one doesn't have a receptionist. If somebody comes to the door, like one of us hops up and like greets them. But I think I'll enjoy it. The people I was working with were really nice. There's 3 of us in the cubicles. There's 6 cubicles in total. It's gonna be a little confusing though. The girl that I was shadowing today who's been there for 5 years, her name is Alyssa and my name is Melissa. So that's gonna be confusing. And they're like, can we call you Mel? And I was like, no, I don't want that. So I said, you can call me M, you know, and the other girl would go by A, right? And I had said, no, don't call me Mel. I don't like that. I'll have to figure that out with them, but that's okay. I think I am gonna enjoy the team. I've never actually worked for a small team like that before. So I got home around 5:15 today, and Larry and I went for a WALK and came inside, had some supper. Now watching a little bit of YouTube before Wheel and Jeopardy, which I try to watch every evening, especially when there's a tournament on. I am a bit fearful about tomorrow because I'm confident that I can do the job that I've already been shown. And I said to the girl I was shadowing, I had said, I think tomorrow I would be comfortable, like, you know, uploading one of these like shipments or whatever. And she's like, oh, no, we'll start you with like phones first. And I'm like, oh. You know, I was like, oh God, no, please, just let me create a few at least. And like, I know today was my first day and like I had to see exactly what they were doing, but I really hope I don't have to shadow for more than like this week. If I had to do any shadowing next week, I might cry because I just want to, you know, get in and be effective and efficient. And I just want to get in there. And yeah, I don't have the mental capacity tonight to tell you 3 things that made me happy. For next week, week 8, you're going to see the bunny pattern roundup. I want to get my bearings and stuff at like my new position, like at work, and just, you know, kind of feel out how my evenings are going to go when it comes to vlogging and stuff and, you know, getting some work done. I won't have a whole lot of crochet time coming up because all the swatches, I think I'm on the last 2 sets of swatches right now, but then they emailed me earlier today and said, hey, this weekend we're wondering if you could do a different set of swatches that are like really small because they need those tested ASAP or whatever. So I was like, okay. So swatches are going to keep me busy for a bit, but honestly, knitting is pretty mindless, so I'm kind of thankful for that right now, because I don't know if I could come home and do a complicated or whatever crochet pattern after my full-time job right now. So that's going to be next week, week 8, the bunny pattern roundup. And then on that video, you'll see me say, because I've already recorded the intro, that if I have anything else to record, like after my work day and stuff, I'll record it and then I'll add it on after the bunny pattern roundup. Until then, please remember that you are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, and the world appreciates having you here. I will see you in week 8.